Good morning. When we left off last time with Gib, he had gotten the honor from the old man, and then he had dropped it in the dark woods when he tripped and fell running home for dinner. And he spent a few minutes looking for it, but then he realized that he needed to get home and he needed a light in order to find it. So he's headed home now. By the time I ran up the walk, Mom was standing at the front door with her hands on her hips. A roughly square dance skirt mushroomed around her waist. I never would have told her so, but it looked all wrong on her. I'm used to seeing her in the clothes she wears at the hardware store. Canvas carpenter pants and a green shirt with her name on it. The best plumbers in town listen with respect when she talks about the difference between copper and galvanized steel. Whenever she wears those frou-frou square dance ruffles, it's like looking at a kid's puzzle. What's wrong with this picture? Gibson Finney, where have you been? She said. She never calls me Gibson, except when she's mad. And she never calls me Gibson Finney, unless she's really, really mad. Over in the woods, kicking rocks and, I don't know, thinking, I said. Realizing how lame that must sound, I added, I would have been home sooner, but there was this weird old guy in there, and he wanted to talk. Sorry. I knew a second later that admitting I'd been talking to a stranger might not be the best way to convince her I shouldn't be grounded. I stared at my shoes and tried to get myself ready for whatever would come next. I ought to ground you. You were talking to a stranger, a man, in the woods at night? She made it sound as if I'd decided to shake hands with a crocodile. Well, I only said a couple of things. He did most of the talking. Then I felt her hands on my cheeks, which surprised me more than a little. Her eyes still had sparklers of anger in them, but when she spoke, her voice was softer than before. You had me so worried, honey. Are you all right? I smiled a little. We'd moved from Gibson Finney to Honey. Maybe there was hope after all. Then she noticed the scrape on my nose. Oh, your poor nose. Did he hurt you? If he hurt you, I'll make him wish he'd never been born. That... She patted my arms and shoulders semi-hysterically, maybe checking for broken bones. Her cheeks were bright red. I felt strangely happy. She would actually make somebody sorry they were ever born if they hurt me. She sounded like she meant it. Mom, it's okay. I was in a hurry to get home and I tripped in the woods, that's all. I stopped her hand as she started patting my hips. He didn't touch me. He didn't even try to touch me. He was just a crazy old homeless guy or something. All he did was talk a while. Then he disappeared. I didn't mention the honor, though I felt a little guilty about it. Something inside me wanted to keep it a secret, at least for now. She frowned and touched my face beside my nose, almost on the scrape, but not quite. The wound was probably dirty, and I suppose she was battling to keep herself from brushing at it. She may be unusual in some ways, but when it comes to obsessively cleaning open wounds, she's the same as every other mom in the known universe. You're sure he didn't hurt you? She asked. Positive. She looked doubtful for a second, then pulled me firmly toward the house. Well, let's get that scrape cleaned up. Your dinner's ready. Roxy's already eating, and Dad and I are leaving in a minute. Before long, I had a Band-Aid on my nose and was seated beside Roxy at the table, shoveling down a big helping of Dad's beef stew. Do you think we should call the police? Mom asked Dad, as he helped her don a mind-numbing jacket with fringe and sequins. Mom, I said, he didn't do anything. He just talked to me. There's nothing so bad about that, said Dad. Yeah, but anybody who hangs out in the woods at night is creepy, said Roxy. I'm scared. She held her butter knife with both hands, as if she might have to use it for self-defense. He wasn't creepy, and he's not hanging out. He's gone. I already told you, I said. Mom frowned as she picked up her purse, which had fringe like her jacket, plus red, white, and blue stars and stripes. I squirmed when I realized I was glad I wouldn't have to be seen with her dressed like that. What if you only think he's gone? She asked. He could still be out there hiding. What if he watched you walk home and he knows where you live? Dad said, shh, and gave Mom a fierce look. Gib, are you scared? No. I didn't want to get the old guy in trouble. I was beginning to feel sorry I'd ever mentioned him. Dad shrugged and held his hands out, palms up. There's your answer. Gib's not scared. I trust his judgment. Rox, you don't need to be scared either. Gib's got the situation under control. Roxy frowned and huffed. Oh, all right, said Mom, sounding annoyed. She kissed me on the cheek. But you be careful, Gib. You and Ash and Roxy stick together at the carnival. Don't dawdle. And she gave Roxy a kiss, too. Have a wonderful time. I couldn't help rolling my eyes a little. Dad grinned at me as soon as Mom wasn't looking, and they waved as they closed the door behind them. I peeled the Band-Aid off my nose and looked at the clock on the wall. I was supposed to meet Ash at 7 o'clock. It was already 6:45, and Ash didn't know about the Roxy debacle yet. I needed to make another change in the plan, too. I wanted to get a flashlight and look for the Unner before we started for the carnival. I figured I'd better phone him as soon as I finished dinner. I grabbed a hunk of bread and used it to soak up the last of my stew. Hey, Roxy, hurry up and finish. It's almost time to go, I said with my mouth full. Roxy crossed her arms and slouched in her chair. She'd hardly eaten anything. I don't want to go, she said. What? I stopped with a piece of bread halfway between the table and my face. If it wasn't one thing, it was another. I was beginning to think that this might be the worst day of my life. What's the matter now? You love the carnival. It's going to be lots of fun. No, it won't. You and Ash will make me go on the scary rides. I sighed. That settled one question. We were going to be spending the night on the baby rides. No, we won't, I said. Promise? Promise. Cross your heart and hope to die, stick a needle in your eye? All right already, I promise. Cross my heart and hope to die. She smiled, picked up her spoon, and started eating. While she finished dinner, I phoned Ash and broke the news to him. He wasn't happy, but what could he do? It was either put up with Roxy or go to the carnival by himself. He agreed to meet us at the edge of the woods. I got my baseball jacket and a sweater for Roxy. Then I grabbed a flashlight and a house key from the kitchen drawer, took Roxy by the hand, and locked up behind us. Okay, I'm going to stop there.